Yo, what is good up, guys? Welcome back. In this video, I want to continue with the programming side of things. I know it's not all roses and rainbows with the programming and the ID and stuff like that, but you guys are going to have to learn today, but C++ is the only way. Okay, so we need to open up a class that Lyra has built in. It is actually called the Lyra character part types. In order for us not to write a shit ton of code, we just need to add a little piece to this struct right here. And I'm pretty sure Lyra did this in a certain way so that you are able to do things a little bit easier if you want to extend the system. So we're just going to add another U property. We're going to make it blueprint, read and write, edit anywhere, same as this. And we want to introduce this to our F body part slot. So let's make a T array and let's get our F body part. I think it's modular body part. What is it called? Body part slot. The F character body part slot is what we want. So this will allow us to pass up simple things like just tags and an enum, and then we'll use that tag and those enum, those two tags and that enum to reverse pull our data that we actually want to assign to the character's mesh. So, and this is going to be our body part slots here. And the reason I'm writing this in the struct instead of anywhere else is because this struct already gets passed through the rest of the system. So we can just, you know, dot body part slots and get what we need instead of trying to pass it through an awkward way or anything like that. Another class we need to open up is the Lyra pawn component underscore character part. So that is this guy right here. It's also in the cosmetics section here. I'm going to open that up, and let me actually move this over here and open up the .cpp file. And there's a function in here called add character part. So we need to take this all the way to the point where we start the actual spawning here. So basically what happens in this system is you call this function inside a blueprint. This function calls a internal function inside of the actual class here. You can see it's using a replicated variable here, and it saying character parts list add entry, which in turn adds an entry to this on the server, and that will make every other client update the same thing and show the same thing that you have assigned. So if we click into this add entry, you can see it does a little thing with a parts handle, which is it iterates the parts handle counter. And then on the server, and if we have some validity here with our owner, we create this entry here with this entries.add default get ref, and then we set the part to new part, and then we set the entries part handle to the result dot part handle up here. Then this is where the bulk of where we're going to jump in, this spawn actor for entry. You can see here it checks if the net mode is not dedicated server, because the server does run this function, but what it does is it sets this value to false, or this value remains false, and then in the post replicate of the actual character parts list, the value of this gets checked on every client, and if it's false, your client is then told to run this function as well. So in this function, we do a few things here. And then if you took a look at my first person tutorial series, we actually did some stuff inside of here with the character part to allow us to hide the third person mesh, but we're not going to do that here. If you are following this and you follow my first person tutorial series, it's pretty much an addition to the code. It's not a replacement, it's an addition to the code. So you would keep pretty much everything that you've done with the first person side and then add this code on top of it. So going into this here, we actually just want to check just one thing. Basically in this if check, if we have a spawn actor that's valid here, we do some things. We set the actor collision, and we do add tick prerequisite, and all these things. It makes the tick dependency depend on the actual owning component. The component, not the owning component. So in here in this check, we want to check if the modular character skin, and that's checking for a modular character, but we want to look at our modular character skin class. If our spawned actor is of this type, so skin actor is equal to a cast of a modular, and did I really do this? I didn't do that, did I? I don't think I did that. A modular character skin. I did do that. Oh my God, I'm dumb. I put an A because, you know, my brain is weird. It's too late now. I mean, I could show you guys how to rename a class in C++. Here, first we'll rename it here, right? You're gonna see we're gonna get some issues. We'll rename all of this. We need to go to the CPP file, change this name as well. Get rid of all those double A's, which is my bad. And then we want to navigate to where this is inside of the code and change that as well. So we put it in our modular character folder. And here, if we just right click, edit, and rename or control RR, we can actually just rename this back to modular character skin.h, and it's going to do some refactoring and and then we can rename this one as well because that's the .cpp. So edit, I'm gonna just use the shortcut control RR, get rid of this A. Why didn't nobody say nothing? So save that and go along with this rename. So you can see here it's including the wrong header, but we just need to include the modular skin character. And you see we got this guy. What is that error? It must have a return type. And you can see here that's because we got this double A right there. And if we go and take a look, we should be pretty good here. Yeah. And it's that simple to rename a class so that it doesn't stupid, so it's not stupid. So here we'll do this, and we want to use our spawn actor as a type to pass in there. And basically all we want to do here is just call skin actor load our custom, what do we call that function? Oh, that function is not available. There we go. Okay, so this is the function we actually want to call, so let's uncomment it. And this function needs to have a const t array of our f body parts slots. We'll add to include, and this needs to be a const reference of this array, and we'll call this our slots. Or actually we can just call this our parts. It's part slots, so it makes sense. And then back inside of the character parts pawn component class here, we want to call load selected parts, and we'll pass this our part. And let me see the value that comes in. It's actually entry. We need the entries part, and from that part we get the body part slots. So that's very helpful to just put it inside of the struct. You see how easy it is to kind of add this code here. You can actually add a comment if you want to, and that's pretty much all we really need for this system to work with the Lyra system. We actually don't need to touch any more of the Lyra code. Everything else is just going to be handled inside of our own custom classes. This modular character skin is where the bulk of the work will be done. The data asset is what holds the data. And then, you know, we'll have some stuff inside the editor that allows us to pop up some widgets and things like that. I'll close the tabs to the left because that's no longer needed. We can also uncomment these U functions as well because I know what types they need. This needs a T array, and Ryder's doing this little freezy thing here. It needs a T array of F primary asset IDs, and this is going to be our loaded assets. And we also want to pass it the slots, and I believe this other one needs the same thing. They both need the same signature. They're just doing two things here, so pass those the same thing. And then we'll just hit Alt Insert, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move these up to the top here. This first function, I'm going to make it private here, create some space. All right, so Alt Insert creates these definitions, and it's about to get hectic, you feel me? I should have stopped the video here